Good evening, everybody. Today is Talk Trash Thursday. I'm annoyed. I'm really annoyed. I don't understand why when people are driving their cars that they have to blast their music. You know, the circumference of a car is quite small, right? When you turn on your radio in your car, it's already easy to hear everything. What is the point of ruining your own eardrums and blasting your music so loud that outside I have to cover my ears because you're driving past in your car? I don't get that. I really don't get that. It's frustrating. It really is. You're driving your car and I have to hear your crap. I have to hear your Mr. Boombastic. I'm not interested in your music. I have my own thoughts. I have things going on in my life. I have things I'm trying to figure out in my own head. That's your music. That's your problem. That's your situation. I don't get that. I don't get people who are in their homes, in their apartments here in the city, and they are blasting their music. I don't get it. Now, I don't have a problem with music. I love music. I love all kinds of genres of music. You know, I even like a little rock and roll. I like a little reggae. I like a little blues and jazz and gospel and, country and name it. I love music. But why should I have to hear your music? This is not a street party that I was invited to. It's really frustrating. I mean, look. Okay, so you get a nice car. And you want people to see your car. For the simple fact that you're driving, people are going to see your car. They are going to notice your car. So what is the point of blasting your music so that everybody can notice that you have a car? Really and truly, who cares? Who really cares? People don't even really know you. The people you're driving past, and the time you're driving past them is so quick. It's not like you're standing out there, and there are those who stand out there in their cars and their music is blaring out of their cars, and they're standing out of their cars. You can't hear your music? Go in your car and listen to your music on your own. I don't get it. I don't get this pollution, this noise pollution. It's really frustrating. And let's not talk about people who walking down the street on their cell phone and having huge major arguments. I hope this doesn't happen in your neck of the woods, but in New York, oh man. It is not my problem that he didn't come home last night. Why are you telling the whole world? Especially if you're a neighbor, because you know we're going to see you with him next week. And you're yelling and screaming at the person on the other line, calling them all kinds of names. And you're making yourself look really stupid because you're going to be with him or her by next week. And you're probably going to have the same argument on the phone. Where were you? I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Ba 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 ba. Excuse me. Can you kind of lower the decimal a little bit here? Just the other day, you had a woman on the news in the middle of the street. She was so upset, screaming and yelling on the phone and having a huge meltdown right in the middle of the street, to the point where she has to sit on the floor crying, yelling, screaming, whatever meltdown she was having. And people are videotaping this. People are walking past. Can you imagine if a child was with her? Like how traumatized this child would be? This is ridiculous. And these people throwing these barbecues and having these parties, you know, I mean, you feel good. You're having some fun times with your family, and you're blessing your music, and you know, it's a party. I get it, and that's cool, but 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, enough. That's enough. Why should I have to be dreaming about your songs? Why? Why should I have to be dreaming about your, it wasn't me, it wasn't me, it was, yeah, you know, I'm familiar with your songs, and they're really cool songs, you know, but I'm sorry, I'm not in the mood to be hearing it. Especially on a day that I consider a rest day, on a night that I consider a holy rest night. I'm not interested in hearing that type of music. I can't even hear my own music in my own home, because your music is blaring on the whole neighborhood because you're having a barbecue. And you're probably too drunk or too high or too caught up in your conversation to realize that this music has been on for hours. And people tolerated it because you were having an event, but we're tired now and we're going to bed and we want to rest. Yeah. Like, what do? Do you go over there and say, hey, excuse me, I'm trying to get a little rest and I can't sleep, and I mean, like, would you mind just kind of like lowering the sound a bit? You know, do you go over there? Like, how do you approach a situation like that? The other day, my neighbor was cleaning his car, and he was just blaring his music. And he was cleaning his car so slow. And I'm thinking, like, okay, when he started, you know, this is not going to last a long time. It'll probably take him, like, you know, maybe 20 minutes. It was an hour later, and he was still blaring his music, so-called cleaning his car. And I wanted to go out there and say, sir, I'm trying to do some calculations here. You know, I have to call my work. I have things to do, you know, on the phone, and I can't. Every room I go to in my house, I hear your songs playing. I hear every single word of your songs, and it's really hard to concentrate. If you didn't know, yeah, it's pretty loud, like 10 houses away from where you're parked. How do you approach situations like that? I mean, this is the kind of noise pollution that we have to deal with here in the city. When I was in the Ozarks, you know, there was a noise pollution situation with my dogs and my neighbors. And one night, my neighbor told me, look, your dogs was walking all night long. And in my mind, I was thinking, she couldn't live a week in the city. Because if she think my dog's barking all night long is a problem, can you imagine all the years I've endured with noise pollution with people blasting their music and blasting their conversations in the street. Could she just imagine? And she complained several times about my dogs, to the point where I had to actually get rid of a few. I really did. You know why? Because I respect her need to have some type of audible privacy, to not have to subject herself to that nonsense. If the dogs are barking all night long, which they were, because they're barking at raccoons and rabbits and deers and anything that run across, they're barking. And that's their job. Their job is to bark, because that's the way they alert me. That's part of my security system on my land. And they were doing their jobs. They were very good dogs. But I had to get rid of one or two. I had to, because those two were the loudest. And I felt kind of weird having to do that, because that dog was doing its best job. But again, I had to show respect to my neighbors. I really did. And when that dog started jumping my fence and going over to her fence in the middle of the night to bark after her dog, to tell her dog to come outside and let's play, it was getting a little bit much. You know, and dogs in heat, this is what they do. He wanted her dog to come out. And it's like, look, you look, I'm like, buddy, you can't do a date. You can't do a date night, at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and these people are still sleeping. But he's a dog. What do he know? He's in heat. Her dog is a female, and she's in heat, and they're barking after each other in the middle of the night into the early morning. And that was a bit much. And unfortunately, I had to get rid of my dog. And it saddens me. And I'm not asking people to get rid of their cars, to get rid of their phones. I'm just saying, be considerate and make adjustment for others. Be conscientious of other people. This noise pollution is just not fair to other people. You're on this earth with other people. Be mindful of other people. Just be mindful. People just don't live in a state of mindfulness anymore. They're so self-absorbed and so consumed with themselves, they just are not mindful. And speaking of mindfulness, I have a few people I know that I completely support them. I am so, for them. I am so, into them, and I have about 20 friends with YouTube pages. I try to like their page. I subscribe, I comment, I share. And these people know I have a YouTube page. They haven't not once. Well, not all of them, but a couple of people have not once said, hey, hey, I saw your YouTube page and that's great. I know you're just starting your little page, and, not one comment, not, I don't even think they've subscribed yet. Haven't said a peep, squeak, diddly, squat, nothing. And these are people like I was all over their page, commenting and sharing and liking and just trying to be involved and engaged. And people are funny. People are really funny. You'll be there for them, and when it's time for them to be there for you, it's like, well, you know what? Let's talk about phony friends another day. We'll talk about phony friends another day. Anyway, this is Talk Trash Thursday, and I'm out. Have a good night.